I'll go back to your lecture, and you talked about compassion of recognition, compassion of understanding, compassion of truth. We are approaching October 7th.
Yeah.
When the horrible massacre happened in Israel.
Yeah.
Where young children were murdered, burned, babies in ovens.
That didn't happen. There were no babies in ovens.
Oh yes, they were.
No, there weren't. That's been refuted even by the Israelis. Let's agree on what we do agree on, okay? A horrible massacre happened. People were killed in their homes. Civilians
were killed, were raped.
There's been no evidence of mass deliberate rapes. I'll let you finish your question.
How
Go
do
ahead.
I find compassion for these people?
Which people?
The animals that did that.
The animals that did that. How do we have compassion for these animals? I've been to Palestine. 2.5 years ago, I went there to work with Palestinian women who've been tortured in Israeli jails, which has been documented by Israeli Physicians for Human Rights, by B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, by United Nations and others. Nobody ever talks about the thousands of Palestinians. Did you know that 2 Palestinian doctors were tortured to death recently by Israel? Doctors tortured to death. History did not begin on October the 7th. In Canada, 4 years ago, there was a poll. Now, thousands of children died in those schools. People were tortured, raped, all kinds of stuff. 70% of Canadians knew nothing or little about the residential schools. So what happened to indigenous people? If you do a poll in the United States, until very few years ago, and even now, most people will know nothing about what happened to the indigenous people here. Nothing. The genocide, the torture, the rape, the starvation. They know nothing about it. And in some states in the United States, it's illegal to even to teach it in the schools. Do you think the average Jew knows anything about the indigenous people of Palestine? These animals that you talk about, you know, the first massacre of Palestinians in Gaza didn't happen last year. Didn't even happen 4 or 5 years ago when they killed hundreds of children with their bombs. It happened in 1956. In 1956, they massacred 200 civilians. Do you know about it? You've never heard of it. Of course you haven't heard of it. That's why you can call them animals. Otherwise, you'd see them like human beings like the rest of us. That place where we call other people animals, if you want to live there, that's your choice. I don't want to live there. I want to understand people. I want to understand what happened to them. I want to know why they behaved the way they behaved. I'm not into justifying taking civilian hostages. I said that was unjustifiable. Why you didn't hear me, I don't know. I said there were massacres that shouldn't have happened. Why you didn't hear me, I don't know. You know why you didn't hear me? Because you live in a bubble, that's why.